Hey, everybody.
We're back. We're a
Hello.
little late, but we're back.
We're here. We are so sorry for the delay. I hope some of you are here with us. We had a few little glitches. It may have been something beyond our control. We don't know why it didn't start up right away. And our producer raced over to help us, but by the time he got here, we got it working
It
again.
just started working on its own.
So go figure.
Welcome to Tarot for today.
Divine Dabblings with Oberon, here, Banshee, me, and Sonny and his tail right here. The
Hi,
gang's all
Sonny.
here.
The gang's all here. Look at that.
Isn't it ironic, Mr. Oberon, that I was going to talk about luck today, and we seem to have a little bit of
Rotten
bad
luck.
luck with the live stream.
Oh, look at what he just did.
Oh no, did he knock the...
He knocked it
Okay,
over. Don't
man
pet him
here.
because you're going to make him
I'm not.
wag the tail, which
no
knocks it
pets
over.
for the man. Let me move. Okay, he moved. There we go.
Oh, my goodness.
Whew. Now we're going to try to calm down so we can do some good readings for people. I have to say, we aren't going over our tarot for today or tomorrow's anymore, but since we got a few moments and maybe people will tune back in to see if we've, come up live. This was definitely a 10 of cups day for me. I had some good news at work. I'm not going to get into it, but just something that went really well. And I don't know. I felt like it was kind of a 10 of cups sort of day, except for this episode. So, gee.
I don't think my day was a Ten of Cups day, but it wasn't a reverse Ten of Cups day either, so there was that.
Yeah, yeah. So at any rate, welcome everybody, and we are going to keep rolling with the program. Today, I'm going to be talking about luck at some point. I'm also going to be, and a little things that tie into luck, synchronicities, timing, things of that nature. Also, we're going to do a group reading. It'll be my group reading today for the week ahead. So for everybody listening, they'll be able to get a weekly reading from both of us, but it's my spread. And I think that's, we have more stuff in mind for the rest of the day. We might pull out the question deck again. We'll see how it goes.
Somebody has a reading for the week?
Uh,
You?
oh, I already said that. Were you
Oh.
not listening?
No, I was not listening. Thanks for pointing that out to
Oh
everyone.
man, now I feel bad. So, also, the show on Sunday, we have planned maybe a talk about dream interpretation. I know that's been kind of a hot topic on our live streams of late. So I want to talk a little bit about dream interpretation and possibly using the tarot cards for that purpose. I have a dream interpretation spread that I created, and I believe we have a few books that even have spreads in them like that I'm going to try to dig up. At least one that I know of for sure. And I have, I think, a couple of decks that were created with dream interpretation in mind.
So just the concept of luck itself is a total seam with tarot cards and fortune telling, because besides the idea that most people ask about their relationships, it's really, will I be lucky in my relationship? Will I have luck meeting somebody new or sustaining a relationship? And then in general, there are just a lot of questions about luck too when it comes to fortune telling.
Also, will I have luck in securing the job that I'm applying for and stuff like that? So, I mean, luck is a big topic. And it's not just all about money and the lottery, although I do have some stories to tell there. But also, I have some stories to tell about other forms of luck. Because, tell me something. Do you consider yourself, Mr. Oberon, a lucky person?
No, I actually don't consider myself lucky all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think when luck happens, it's a synergy that it was meant to happen, and it was usually about something that really I was spending a lot of time wishing, thinking, planning for. It wasn't out of the blue. To me, luck is something that just sort of happens out of the blue without any warning. It just sort of like you bend over and there's a $50 bill on the ground.
Well,
that kind of thing. That's luck to me.
interesting. I think there's a little bit more to it than that. You know, I'm not going to get in a divine debate with you on it, but I do think there's a little bit more to it, which I'll get into. However, what would we like to do first today? Would we like to do the group reading first and get that out of the way?
Maybe we should do the group reading, yes.
Okay. So I'm going to shuffle. I have, back by popular demand, or at least by my popular demand, I am using the Tarot Grand Luxe by Ciro Marchetti again today, one more time, because it is just so awesome, colorful, and beautiful. It kind of, to me, has a little fallsy feel to it with the kind of colors that are there.
Somebody is waiting right avidly there.
We've got some fun stuff planned for October, you know, Halloween coming up and all. I want to bring up some discussions, I think, about past lives. I want to bring up some discussions about our ancestors and honoring them, and because tis the season for that. And oh, you dropped cards. We must look at these. Wow. Well, it's the Three of Swords reversed and the Ace of Wands reversed. What do you have to say about that?
Nothing. I don't know.
We're obviously still feeling a little bad energy from our bad start today.
Well, maybe the Three of Swords reverse says we're going to get it together, that the separation from our live stream is ending.
And that's obviously
This
a
was the
delay
delay
in plans,
of our
right?
creativity. So yes, that's what that was about.
Indeed.
Nothing else, nothing more.
Hey, you know, mistakes happen sometime. What can we say?
Well, I'm not always the kind of person that rolls well when I'm a little bit out of that. There are things that I'm well versed that I roll in, but when it's something I'm not well versed in, rolling with it is just not always comfortable and seamless. Cut?
Oh, I was actually going to shuffle them a little more. I'll let you cut. I only shuffled them a couple times, so I feel I need to put a little more me in here. If Sunman will let me.
If you do that loud enough by his ears, it might make him get up and go away.
Probably not. I think he likes the breeze on his ears.
Is that what it is?
Maybe. Well, let me see what I can do about this.
Feed him to me and we'll show him at least here before you do whatever.
I moved the camera.
Thanks a lot.
It seems okay,
You
though.
have to be careful.
I know. And he might move it anyway because his legs are on it. Okay. Sorry about that. So now, the first card in the 4-card spread is about people's physical well-being, mental, spiritual, emotional well-being. It's kind of a general health card for the week ahead.
Reversed?
Yeah. Is that the page or the knight?
The page. P.
The Page of Wands?
Mm-hmm.
The Page of Wands reversed. Well, the Page of Wands reversed is, you know, I would be concerned about messages that you receive this week as far as your health goes. You know, maybe there's a delay in receiving some messages that are important to you from a doctor or a health practitioner. Maybe something like that. What do you say about that?
I'm going to go with that too. I'm going to say too that if there was some testing involved and you're to be notified back from the testing, there's probably some delays there. The news may not necessarily be the best. I don't see that it's imminently horrible, but it's just the frustration of having some sort of delay, or maybe the possibility that, excuse me, that you may have to come back for more tests.
Right, and you know, now that you mentioned that too, yeah, the tusks is a very good thing. I was thinking in terms of, just also maybe possibly, appointment you expected to have with a healthcare practitioner might be canceled.
Oh,
Here, I'll let you have it. I can't open it for some reason. Do you want the cough drop or the throat soother? Because I have one of each. This is the cough
whatever
drop.
this is, I'll take.
There, so we are hydrated now. Hydrated and ready to go. So basically, yeah, there could be appointment delays. There could be test result delays. So don't get too bent out of shape about it. This too shall pass. Wow, this is page day. So for the card that has to do with career, education, financial matters, things of that nature, that is the Page of Pentacles upright. And that's a nice card to get in this particular place.
So what is this position again?
That, as I just said, it was the material, more the career, education, financial matters house or position. So I said this is very good news for that. I love this card. Look at that cute little deer. For financial matters and education, you might be getting some good news this week. Maybe you'll be hearing about some extra income, some positivity here for sure. If you're in school, things should be going really well this next week for you.
I think job seekers probably are going to hear a good word if you're looking for a job. Things like that. People who are waiting for communications that affirm something that they're very interested in, that they're passionate about, and that they're persevering towards, will probably hear good news about those things.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this is very good. And interestingly enough, having 2 pages in the beginning like this is about news and messages and information flowing. Yeah. Okay, the next house is about relationships, interpersonal, romance, family relationships, relationships with coworkers, etc. There's that darn card again. It's that darn card, and at least it's reversed again. Well, we have another cat on the table, not in view. I'm just going to watch the cameras and stuff.
So that's the Three of Swords again.
Yes, it's the Three of Swords reversed again.
This card speaks specifically about things of the heart that maybe are unfortunate or hurtful. So falling into that position, it's covering relationships and potentials. It doesn't seem the best. However, it is reversed, but I think what this is possibly saying then is that for those who have had some upheavals or turnabouts in their relationships, it may be possible that the waters will calm. It may be possible that maybe some fissures will be strengthened and overreached, that maybe some people will find understanding and be able to put some things back together, that if there was a relationship that was breaking up, that maybe this could signal the ability to arbitrate and or discuss and maybe get beyond what those issues are and go back to the relationship.
Well, I agree with you that I think it does mean that some healing will occur. And whether that's a healing within a relationship or the fact that, you're able to realize something is over and done and you're able to let it go. It's one or the other, I think.
So yes, it could be that. It could be that actually the healing and renewal starts afterwards. And maybe it's the idea too that you'll just resolve to be friends and it'll be a better friendship than it might have been as a relationship.
Absolutely. So the final card is the focus for the week ahead, what we're really going to be kind of focused on. Whoa. Wowzer.
It's Guy Fawkes.
Dun, dun, dun. It's the death card.
So what you're really going to be focusing on is major change, that this talks about overwhelming, big change. It's not necessarily change that's horrible change, but it is change that brings a lot of challenges, and maybe you will have to really look within, like some of these other cards have said, especially the recent relationship one, and see what's going on in there and what needs to be addressed. You?
Well, I have to agree. I mean, there's not much I can add to that. It is radical change, and maybe it has to do with, either the letting go or the mending of some relationships. Maybe it has also to do with the, what kind of health news you're going to get. If I'm looking back at the cards that we pulled here,
That's a good point.
It could have something to do with following up on tests and things and making sure that, you are following up on the important matters related to your physical, mental, and spiritual well being. And also, here, this could also be change and transformation as far as some things with work goes. Maybe you do get that job that you wanted really desperately. Maybe maybe you were kind of starting off on shaky ground with your studies, but now, things have changed and you are pulling it all together and things are starting to come together for you. It's just showing that the cycle is showing that things are changing and rapidly and majorly. So if you felt you were off to the wrong foot in some of these areas, there's some big turnarounds coming.
Yeah, so my summation would be that next week brings many changes, but those changes may also involve you reflecting on what has happened just before with the situations with your workplace, your romantic life, and your physical well-being. And so some of those things may be clues to you, if you can pick up on them, on where your changes should be focused in the week ahead. Mm-hmm. Very nice.
That was a pretty good reading, I have to say.
I hope that people got something out of that.
There was a little, everything's never rosy in life, let's face it. I'm not going to try to, make a positive out of everything, because frankly sometimes we have to deal with some not so happy things. And that's just the nature of it. And so pretty good. Also, I was just trying to look at the mix we had here. We actually had a wand, we had a pentacle, we had a sword, we had a major arcana card. The only thing that's lacking...
Kind of rounded.
Well, it is, but the only thing that's lacking is a cup and the emotion, which, of course, we get some emotion from the Three of Swords here, the sorrow-based thing. But that's pretty interesting.
Very much.
Yes, very
Good
well
reading,
grounded.
Banshee, and the cards are beautiful.
Oh, why, thank you. And you know what? I may have to get up for a moment when we do our luck thing, because I forgot something, as I want to do from time to time, that I thought would be important for that. Maybe I would do and show a reading on luck today that I created. Anyway, so we have that discussion. Also, I wanted to bring up the point that I've noticed on our live stream that the card reading that we did, it was like a fantasy forecast that we did for the Brexit situation in Britain. We cut that out of our live stream and we kept it up as a video. And honest to goodness, we're up to 43 views on that already. So clearly there's a lot of interest in Brexit. And I'm not sure I want to do a follow-up with that today. I was almost thinking about it in the back of my mind, because there's a lot of things happening in Britain right now related to it, and we probably have the time today. So let's keep that on the back burner as a possibility if we don't have, people coming into the chat for readings today. So maybe we'll do a follow-up on Brexit.
Well, maybe we could do something like, in the spirit of Halloween that's coming up. Remember that one line from the Monster Mash song?
Uh-oh.
Tell them Boris sent you. Boris Johnson.
Oh. I was just like, where is he going with this?
I am a stream of something.
Of some kind of strange consciousness.
You love it and you know it.
That is funny.
Alrighty.
Well, one thing I want to do now before we start our luck talk is I'm going to do a quick yes/no for myself.
Okay.
So I would like your interpretation on this, but I'm going to shuffle and cut for myself here. And I've had kind of, speaking of luck.
Look, Banshee.
What? Oh, Monster Hunter Malik is there. Well, hello, producer.
Do you have a question for us? Perhaps we could read cards for you.
Everything's okay. It seems as though everything's okay so far, but I'm afraid we might have scared off our audience with, the long delay. I feel kind of bad about that, so...
Want a reading?
He just says, yay.
I'm going to pull a card for you.
He's going to pull a card for you, Monster Hunter. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Oh, this card is so appropriate.
What did you pull?
The three of coins reversed. And this card says, people not liking your craftsmanship. If you crafted us, then that explains that. But I would say that maybe you're feeling that way more about us, like, oh my God, they didn't learn anything.
Yeah, basically, that's showing a lack of skill and talent. And so I don't think it's in our presentation it's speaking about here. I think it's speaking about our, how shall I say, our technical abilities. That's really funny. That's so funny you pulled that.
Well, you know, with everything else going on in the world today, especially U.S. news, it's always likely that some people are just catching up with that kind of stuff too tonight. You know,
I'm
so
sure,
much has
yeah,
been
it's a
happening.
busy news night. I could barely pull myself away from the TV.
So
But,
you think that's fair? Yeah, I guess so. It seems to be about right.
well, I'll tell you what. I have to pull a card for you, too. Let's do a follow-up card. Oh,
Ah, well,
that's awesome.
yes.
That shows you driving to our
Chariot.
house, which you did, to
But it
help
also
us
shows
out.
too that you are the driver behind us.
Also, it shows that we actually got things moving again. The chariot's about movement, so
Vroom, vroom.
it's really awesome the way the cards work sometimes. It's funny. Well, at
Well,
any rate, thank you so much for checking in on us and making sure we were
we
okay.
appreciate that very much. You know that. We'll probably catch up
And
with
as
you
you
this
can
weekend.
see, we do have a cat on camera. Actually, there are two on the table. It's a little precarious right now. Shadow is out of camera view, but she's in between the two cameras.
Is that like being between two ferns?
Maybe. Yeah, I guess we did nail it, didn't we? Well, now I'm going to ask a very interesting question. I've had a little bit of luck this week, and I just want to know if my lucky streak is going to continue. And yes, this is a financial question because I actually hit a little bit of amounts in the lottery this week, but it was just very peculiar the way it happened, and I'll bring it up in my luck talk later. So I just want to know if the cards think my lucky streak is going to continue. Thanks, Monster Hunter producer.
you.
We'll see you again, I'm sure. Okay, so I have cut the cards, and I'm going to try to see what they bring me. Whoa, that was fast. That was fast, too. Oh, okay, I got all of them in under 7 cards. 7 cards and under. I got 3 aces, the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Ace of Cups. And 3 aces indicates a definite yes. Well, nobody could be happier to hear that than me. There's nothing even to say about it other than it looks very likely that my luck this week will continue. How awesome is that? Yeah, let's hope it's bigger. And so we'll get into that a little bit as we discuss luck. I thought this would be a nice lead-in for that. And so if we had people in the chat, I would be asking, the people in the chat, do you feel you're a lucky person? And I asked Oberon that question a little while ago, and he answered
Yeah, but she
it.
asked it like this. Do you feel lucky?
I did not say that way. He lies.
Oh, Ellis is with us again. Hi, Ellis.
Hey, Ellis. Hi. Sorry we were late
If
today.
you dropped by earlier, we were having technical difficulties, and it was about 10 or 12 minutes after that we finally got it together and started.
Yes, it was horrible. We did our weekly readings, so you might want to, once this is on tape, once this is recorded and on our channel, you might want to go back and just watch the first few minutes of our stream to catch the weekly reading. It was a very good one. And right now we're talking about one of my favorite subjects, which is luck.
Luck.
And So basically, I've had a little bit of luck this week. And so I've been asking, I asked
are here now.
Oberon if he thinks he's a lucky person. And the reason I asked that question is I never thought I was, even though weird occurrences kept happening that should have told me otherwise. And over time and the years, I began to realize, I am a damn lucky person. And I think more people are luckier than they realize. It all depends on how you look at luck. Luck isn't about necessarily winning the lottery, although that's nice, and I'm counting on it someday. But the big one. I mean, the big one. But luck can be about a lot of other things. You're at the right place at the right time where something fortunate happens to you. You meet the right person, make the right connection to get the job of your dreams. It's all these different things. So a lot of things play into luck. And let's just say, I know you made a comment earlier, when we were getting started about this, that you considered luck to be like if you look on the ground and there's $50 and aha, I found $50 and I get that. But I also think there's a little bit more to it than that. You have to create the opportunities and open that door for luck to occur. I mean, you know what they say in the lottery or in gambling, if you don't play, you're not going to win, right? If you don't play at all, you're not going to win.
They also say it only takes one number to win. So those who buy lots and lots of numbers, well, you're kind of wasting some of that money there.
That's true.
In my opinion.
I will say that, I'm not going to say I'm a low gambler, but I'm not going to say I'm a high gambler either. I try to balance myself. And I will tell you that I see people playing tons of numbers in front of me all the time, spending their money. And I play the same amount every time. And it seems to me, unless I win, and then I might buy an extra ticket or two off of my winnings. And it seems to me that for doing that, I'm pretty darn lucky. So let me give you a couple examples of what I'm talking about here. Okay, for example, when we were moving to our condo many years ago, we were looking at furniture. We were going to buy some furniture, and I was just musing over a bedroom set and a living room set that we had seen. And we were driving back from the furniture store. We didn't make our minds up. And we were chatting about it. And I just looked at Oberon and I said to him, if the lotto gods are kind tonight, we could buy them both, and just get it done. And
do you remember what I said?
What did you say?
I don't remember either. I probably just rolled my eyes and said, oh, sure.
Oh, you dreamer. Right. You dreamer. And so what ended up happening was we got home, and within, I don't know, maybe a half hour of being home, I looked on, I got the numbers, and I realized I won. I won a 4-digit number straight, which won me, I don't know, close to $3,000.
$2,700.
$2,700, something like that. See, he can remember that. And we bought both sets of furniture.
Yeah.
So I was flipped out and thought this was the craziest thing in the world. Now, do you remember what happened after that?
After we bought the furniture or the second time?
Well, the second time. Wasn't
it? Was about 6 months later.
Yeah. About 6 months later, I hit again. And I hit again straight on a 4-digit number and I won another $2,700. And honestly, I cannot remember the circumstances around that, but I just know that, it started to make me realize that luck seemed to work for me in mysterious ways. There are certain clues you have to look for sometimes, and sometimes with me, I get little premonitions about luck. So if any of this, resonates with you, I'd love to hear some of your stories as well. But for example, there was one day where I just felt I had to play this number. Well, I dreamt a number. Okay, I dreamt a number. And usual thing in my family has always been that if you dream about a number, you should play that number for 3 days straight in the lottery. 3 days and it should come out. And this actually happened to me once, but I want to tell that story after this, because what happened here was I dreamt this number and I played it for the 3 days and nothing happened. But for some reason, I could not get this number out of my mind. And I was convinced it was going to come out. And so I played it another day and nothing happened. And so finally I decided I was going to give up on this number. But I was at work and I was sitting there and I felt very antsy, very nervous, like I had to do something. And suddenly I just came into my head that I had to go out on my lunch and go out and play that number. And it came out. And it was in a box and I won $400. And so, sometimes when your gut tells you something, you have to go with it. I'm not saying to like put yourself in in a hole financially to do it. But, if you can take a risk and a gamble, that's what life is about. You sometimes have to take that risk and gamble and trust that gut and what it's telling you. But you know better how the messages come to you. They may come to you directly like that. They may come in other ways. You might get a sign or a symbol in other mysterious ways.
With me, it's more likely not so much about luck, but about sensing things through patterns. Mm-hmm. That usually if I get the numbers, it's the patterning of the numbers that means something. And I can't give a good example, but it usually clicks out to mean it was a number I needed to know for some reason. It solved a question, it solved a problem, it pointed me in a direction. And because it happened 2 or more times in that pattern, that is what came to me and said, you should pay attention to that.
And let me give you another example of luck that's not related to the lottery, because I have plenty of those stories, and they are just so strange. But, I was very miserable at this one job I was at, and I was looking for, I wasn't at the point of leaving yet, but things were really starting to build, and people were leaving around me right and left. They had had enough, and I was, losing confidence in people I felt comfortable working with, and, feeling really left behind and not knowing what to do. And finally in my mind, and I was looking for jobs. I was just looking out there to see what jobs were available, but there was nothing there. And I think what basically it was I had to make the decision in my mind that it was time to leave. I had to make that conscious choice that I was done, that I had enough, and open that door. And I did. I just said it to myself this one day, that's it. I am looking for a job seriously now, and I am going to leave here. And the very next day, I kid you not, the job opened up that I am at to this day. And so sometimes what I'm saying is if you don't open that door to things, to letting the universe answer you, it's not going to happen. The other time it happened to me with a job was even earlier in my career when I was at a job, and I had applied for a job at a library. It was a paraprofessional job. This was before I was a librarian, and 3 months had gone by and I had heard nothing. And I was getting very dismayed. I had finally gotten my bachelor's degree, and I didn't know what to do anymore. And I was discouraged at the library I was at because I was cut to part-time hours, and I was working a full-time job at a financial printer, and I had finally decided I need to let one of these go. I think I have to let this library job go and work at the financial printer. And maybe, now that I have my journalism degree, I have to give up on libraries entirely. I just have to do it. Nothing's working for me. Well, as soon as I made that decision, and this time I gave notice on that job, I got a call within 3 days of that from the job I had previously applied to 3 months previously. And they said to me, "Are you still interested in the job? Because if you are, we think you can get in there." Totally changed my mind and pulled me back into libraries again, where really I think I've always was meant to be. And so, of course, I said yes, and the rest is history. So I don't know what to tell you here, but those kinds of experiences really began to make me realize that I am a lucky person. I can attract luck to me, and sometimes many times we attract it unwittingly without giving ourselves credit for it. What do you say?
I don't know if this would go against what you're saying or not, but I do feel that with some of these things, consistency is what counts. And where you try to promote or push Your luckiness is generally with trying to win money through the lotteries. So you are consistent there. You promote that energy there. I'm not saying that's.
I like that.
Yeah, I see that too.
Love your library. Absolutely. Love libraries. They are a blessing.
Right. And I'm going to get to that in a moment
Yeah.
too, LS. But, LS, library science. That's what our degree is called, the Master of Library Science. Anyway, what was I saying? Well, it's consistency.
Yeah.
So even if, people always say to me, oh, I wish I was lucky like your wife. And the first thing I say is, you got to play. But you just said that a few moments ago. You have to play more often. And yeah, so you kind of move that into the doorway, if you will, of not a blessing, but the doorway of probability. Opportunity. That if you do play more, you are increasing your chance you're going to win. So is that luck, or is it just knowing how probability works? Oh, I guess I'm sort of tinkering with your concept there.
Well, we can debate this for sure, but I just have to say, fluky things happen to me. I'm going to tell another story, LS, that I think might really freak you out, because it freaks me out to this day, this one that happened with two of them with the lottery. First one I'm going to start with is something that happened to me. I was going to a women's conference up in the Upper Peninsula in Michigan, which is quite a ride from where we are. Remember, Michigan, we got the hand in Michigan, so the Upper Peninsula's up here.
She went up there.
It's quite a ride. Yeah, I went up to the Escanaba.
It's about 9-10 hours.
Yeah, and so and we were staying the weekend at a casino. Hotel. Yes, his worst nightmare for me. But I was really holding it pretty much in check. I didn't have a lot to spend, which was probably a good thing. And when I was there, it was the weekend of my late mother's birthday, and so she was on my mind. And my mom and my aunts were gamblers. They would go to casinos and they played the lottery all the time. So I went to this conference and I gambled a bit with the slots, and I actually won most of my money back from that. I even went to a bingo night there because my aunt and I used to play bingo together, so I thought, she'll let me be lucky here. Sure she will, Nothing happened. So I was kind of leaving the conference a little bit dismayed. And on the way back, I was talking to these women who aren't so much into the spiritual stuff. They're just into the women's movement, like I am as well. And but I started talking to them about old wives' tales and stuff, and about my luck, and that I thought my mother would be lucky for me this weekend, and how nothing happened. And then I noticed my hand started itching in the car, my left hand. And I said, oh gosh, my hand is itching me like crazy. I don't know why. I said, but have you ever heard this? I told the ladies, I said, my aunts used to tell me that when your hand itches, that means money's going to come to you.
But which hand, right or left?
Well, see, I heard later stories that if it's the right hand, you're giving money away. If it's the left hand, you're receiving money. And so it was my left hand. And so I didn't know what to think, but so we stopped for gas at a gas station up there, and I had to use a bathroom, and I decided when I was in the bathroom, hey, I haven't played my numbers in days. Maybe I should just play my regular numbers today and see if anything happens, I'm up north, maybe something good will happen. So I stood in line there, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, I changed my mind completely, and I decided to buy some instant tickets instead. So I take them to my car, and I'm scratching them off in the car, and then I'm like, oh, I said all of a sudden, and one of the ladies looked at me and said, what? And I said, I think I won something here, and I think it's bigger than normal. And they go, what? What did you win? And I scratched it off. I won $1,000 on a $5 ticket. Up in the middle of nowhere in Manistee, Michigan, at a gas station in the middle of nowhere, where I decided at the last minute to change gears and buy those tickets, that particular instant ticket.
Well, LS, most liberal arts bachelors are a good way to move into your master's program for library science. So if you had a bachelor's in English or journalism or any liberal arts kind of bachelor's degree, you could use that to move into library science. Depending on what state or area you live in, you may have a better climate for graduating from library science. Michigan climate's a little bit wonky because we have two major universities who have a master's program in library science.
So it's a lot of competition.
We're
for
getting a lot of
jobs
graduates here,
Yeah.
and so if they're from Michigan, Detroit area, it's a little harder to find a job once they've graduated. You would have to be prepared to move to another state possibly. I know that Chicago area, always hiring librarians, probably other big cities.
There's some very good online programs for getting your master's degree in library science. I know San Jose State University is one. There's one other one too that I can't think of at the moment, but that one comes to mind definitely. And
And that's right, though, about Banshee's talk a moment ago, is you don't give up when it comes to luck.
it's crazy. And guess what? Here's something else, LS. The day that I won the $1,000 was my actual mother's birthday.
Okay, Ellis, I want to take the LS challenge and be shocked in the world.
A whole other area in the
Oh, you
wild
mean you're
you'd be
not
shocked.
in the States here, as we call them?
Okay.
Are you over there in? Ooh.
Well, at any rate, the final story I wanted to give about the lottery is sometimes, I often think that we don't give ourselves credit enough for making things happen for ourselves, and that the will can sometimes be involved in things that happen to you, lucky happenstances occurrence. If you believe in something enough, you can make it happen. And I actually think one day I made that happen. I'm going to tell that story, and I'll be done with the luck stories, and then I'll give a few little tips. Okay, so one year, both of us needed dental implants at the same time. And here in the States, dental implants cost a lot of money out of pocket. We have dental insurance, but it doesn't cover everything, and certain procedures are more costly than others for whatever stupid reasons. So this was going to cost us close to, I think total between the two of us, like $3,500.
It was near 4,000.
Yeah, almost
total.
$4,000 total. And so I was dismayed. We got through paying for his, and then mine came along, and I was still paying for some of mine. And every time I go to the dentist, that's $700 today, that's $700 today. So finally, the last time they told me it was $700 or $800, I just looked at them and I said, I have to win the lottery to come here anymore and get any work done, it seems to me. And they laughed at me. They kind of laughed amongst themselves and laughed at me, and I looked at them. I was kind of angry, but I didn't really with anger, but with a very pointed attitude, just looked at them and said, "Don't laugh. It could happen." And I walked out of there, and I was just kind of fuming to myself because it's like, yeah, it's just such a bunch of money. And they were laughing at me, So I leave, and I was supposed to see them a month later. And within 2 weeks of that, it was Labor Day weekend, the first week of September, and we were out and about, and I bought some lottery tickets, and we had to go visit our daughter-in-law who was having some major surgery done. And when we left there, we were kind of exhausted. It was lunchtime, though, and we came home. And honest to goodness, I checked right away to check my midday lottery numbers, and I won another 3-digit, 4-digit number straight.
$2,700.
Another $2,700.
That was the fourth time you actually did it.
So fourth time, yeah, I actually did that. And which I think, I've talked to some people from the lottery about some of my luck, and they actually told me that it's pretty amazing what I've done. They says, you don't realize, that this is very unique. We don't see people coming back with this frequency. And so that made me feel real good. But my point stands. So when I got that money, it paid literally for almost one of our procedures completely. And so When I went back into the dentist and I had one final payment to pay, I wrote the check and I said, "Oh, by the way, this is compliments of the Michigan State Lottery." And the woman looked at me and I said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you remember I said I had to win the lottery to come here?" And she goes, "You won?" And I said, "Yep, enough to pay for one of the procedures." They were flabbergasted. As was I. I mean, I didn't really want to rub it into anybody's face because you should never do that with your luck. But oh my gosh, the feeling of self satisfaction, I cannot tell you. It was precious.
Okay, Banshee, I want you to take a breath now so someone else can get in there.
Yes.
And I was noting that Ella said that they're from the Middle
Oh,
East.
excellent.
And that's no barrier to library science because we had a very fine librarian, Sarah, who was actually Iranian American. Her father immigrated when she was young, I guess. I don't believe she was born there. I don't remember. She was really cool. She spoke Farsi and everything. And then after her internship, she went off to New York, I believe, New York City, and she's a librarian there. And some of our folks still keep up with her a little bit. So anyone can be a librarian from anywhere. You can be a librarian in Calcutta
Well,
or
and I bet there are
Chile
some
or
awesome libraries in the Middle East. Somebody
oh, of
posted.
course. They
Somebody
have magnificent
posted
libraries.
something on either our Twitter or Facebook. Remember, I don't know if you saw that, but it was a posting about the libraries you must see in your lifetime before you die, or something like that. It was like 10 libraries from around the world that were absolutely awesome. Yeah, they were really amazing.
Well, it's just good to know that most of the world does respect libraries and information and books. No matter what happens, books are never going away. We might love our digital devices, but you know what? We can always go back to a book.
So here's what I say.
No password required.
Some to close about my luck segment for today. If you feel if you feel, if you don't feel lucky, I don't know that luck can gravitate to you. You should try to build up a feeling and a sense of luck. Surround yourself with things that remind you of luck, whatever they may be. If it's a flower, if it's something you drink, a special tea, whatever the case may be, surround yourself with these things. I do believe in lucky charms, but I don't carry them around with me everywhere I go. I also believe in just focusing on the fact that I believe luck surrounds me and that good things are going to happen to me. That's a big part of it. But also another part of it is to make sure that you open the doors for things to happen to you. I mean, if you want opportunities and a good job or, a good partner, things like that, then surround yourself with the things that would bring that to you and make sure you're opening the door to that possibility, because without that, it's not going to happen.
Well, a lot of times the kind of work we do with fortune telling is similar to the kind of work other people do in the sense of being devotional.
Yes.
And that being devotional can be different forms. So, for example, when I take a tarot card and maybe it's the card that would signify some monetary benefit, like, for example, the Ace of Coins. If I meditate on it and be devotional with it and try to surround myself with those thoughts, I am building that consciousness within myself that is opening me to receiving luck. And it's the same thing with other practices too. Maybe we have practices that are more similar to Buddhism or Hinduism or something else, but they usually may involve devotional.
Yes.
Even if you're Christian or Muslim or some other religions, you may have a devotional practice where you light a candle and you say a prayer, or maybe you put flowers by the statue of Mother Mary or something like that. You are creating an environment that I think thoughts are things, and I think that if you think better thoughts, better things can happen to you. And so, if you think lucky thoughts, lucky things can happen to you. And it's like what you said earlier, Ellis, that it's really about just not giving up.
Yeah, and I think in particular, not giving up on yourself, because and also I want to also encourage this idea as well. Is whenever I've had luck, I've always found that it's around times where I'm giving of myself in some way to others. So there's kind of a give and take, the universal concept of the law of attraction. In order to get something or to receive something, you must give something back. And I feel that that happens a lot for me here. And, I can't help but wonder, too, if some of the luck that's coming to me recently, because I've had some minor luck of late that just made me feel like things were on the upswing again, that it's because we're doing the live streams and we're giving free readings for people and we're doing, we're giving of our time and our energy, and that comes back to you. I always feel that what you give out comes back.
Well, you need some luck for your air conditioning unit in the car.
Well, I need.
Let's offer the car a free reading.
If the
Maybe
lot
that'll help.
Oh,
Well, then you have to do it for yourself. You have to learn how to meditate for yourself, or to try to draw that luck to you. There are different things you can do. If you think luck is based more on the idea of financial wealth, if luck to you would mean becoming wealthier, having more money, then you're in another country. So take that standard of currency, the equivalent of whatever their penny is or their dollar bill, and try to focus on it. Like maybe every day create a little ritual for yourself that as you get ready to go off to do your job or your studies or whatever, you take that paper currency maybe, and you look at it and you try to be thoughtful with it before you place it back in your wallet or purse. And maybe at the end of the day, you take that out and you put it there on a special area of your table or surface where you could also try to meditate on it. And you know what? They say that sometimes just lighting a candle for seconds charges the atmosphere. And so if you do that, light a candle and say something nice about, wanting to have luck come to you while you meditate on that dollar bill. Being respected, I think that's lucky too. Some of us are lucky if we're respected, and some of us are probably not very lucky because we're not respected. So again, these are things that may involve different cultural perceptions too.
So I created a couple of spreads related to luck in the tarot. And this one that I'm just going to hold up to the camera here. Is that showing okay?
Pretty much.
That is based on one of the Norse rune stones that is called, I don't know how to pronounce it exactly, Eol.
Eol.
And I call it the Lady Luck spread because this rune has to do with luck and fate and karma. And so basically the questions that it covers are, am I generally a lucky person? Has my life been jaded or turned upside down by fate? Is fortune smiling on me right now, or have the fates turned against me? How do I sabotage or bring bad luck to myself? What is the best way I can create lucky breaks for myself? Is my luck going to change for the better, or is my luck going to run out in the coming months? So that's one that I did.
Why don't we do one for Ellis if Ellis would like?
If she would like that. Or we could just demonstrate it if not. And one other one I was just going to bring up is more specific to gambling, and I'm not going to do that one now. But I wanted to show it because it's kind of cute. I can't find it because I'm in the wrong thing. There we go. This one is called the Do I Feel Lucky Gambling
Ellis
spread.
thinks that might be a helpful one, the one that we showed.
Okay, Ellis, we'll do that one for you. I just want to show this one. Notice it's kind of in the shape of a four-leaf clover. And it's Do I Feel Lucky Gambling Spread. So this is good for me, actually, right now. I may do this one later off camera for myself to see if my winning streak is going to continue. But the card one is, am I as lucky as I feel right now? What should I do about it? What signs or hunches should I be looking for? Am I really in a good position financially to gamble right now? How successful could I be in playing games of chance at this time? So that's specifically for people like me who, invest in the lottery once in a while. Now, that brought up a very good point to me, though, that I wanted to bring up here. What signs or hunches should I be looking for? There are synchronicities and signs sometimes that come up that make you feel like maybe this is a good time for me to strike. And they're very personal. Only you are going to know what works for you. For me, it's dreams with numbers in it. That's what works for me because it seems to be something that's happened in my family. And so I look for that as a sign that, yes, I need to play this number now. I need to do this now. The hand itching for me is another one. So, you yourself may have your own, idea, when you're getting signs or omens that this is a lucky time to do something. So that was good. I'm glad I found that reading because it reminded me of that point that I wanted to make. Okay, I've got the Lady Luck spread out for you.
Should I do my cards?
Yes, let's use your cards.
So we're going to do this spread for you, Ellis. And I was also thinking about that last comment you made about seeing people or the educational system disrespected. And yes, that's happened here a lot in the United States. But to be fair, I think the whole worm has turned about that too, that there just isn't really a lot of advancement now for people who are graduating here from college after all the time they spend and all the money. And it just seems like the opportunities are not commensurate with the amount of education that they've taken on.
Also, in the States here, teachers get paid really poorly. It's very unfortunate. In some states where the cost of living is really high, they literally are trying to think of alternatives to try to keep the teachers living in the communities because they don't. How about paying them a wage so they can live there, first off? But secondly, they're actually thinking they have to build special housing so that they can have affordable housing to live in. I think Hawaii, for example, has a serious problem in that regard. A lot of teachers have left Hawaii because they can't afford to live there.
Well, I don't want to change the tone of the conversation too much, but I think what has happened is that people have realized now that apparently for 30 to 40 years, tax things have been eroded to the point where all of the money and generated productivity and gains from productivity are not going to the workers. They're going only to the richest. And we are not reinvesting in education.
Well, in infrastructure in general.
Infrastructure.
Yeah.
Hopefully you are impacting a whole new generation.
Yeah, you are absolutely right about that, Ellis.
Okay, do you want to spread them since it's your spread?
Yes, I will.
Completed the cut.
Okay.
I'll read the meaning and then you can take it from there. So card 1, the first card we pull says, are you generally a lucky person? Has your life been jaded or turned upside down by fate? So this is kind of be an overview of you and luck.
And we've got the 2 of Swords reversed, which does show that...
blind luck.
Well, it could be blind luck, but it also could be... Gosh, son, man. Well, it says, am I a lucky person? How's my life been jaded or turned upside down by luck? Which also means sometimes maybe you've had some misfortunes or missteps along the way, in other words, where you were hoping for a lucky break. It didn't seem that easy to come by. And also, like he said, this might indicate that sometimes if luck is going to happen to you, it's going to be very blindly and out of the blue.
You weren't expecting it, but somehow you were in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. Okay, card 2. I'm looking around my cat. You can read that?
Is fortune smiling on you right now, or have the fates turned against you? Well, we hope not.
Oh. You want to hold that up? That is the 3 of Pentacles upright. Well, I think fortune is smiling on you, but fortune, and like I said with luck, sometimes you really have to work at it. sometimes. It doesn't just come to people. You know, there's energy that you have to put forth to make it happen. And with the Three of Pentacles, that's exactly what it's indicating here. You work towards the good luck that you get in your life. You put effort into it.
I also think, too, that this is telling me that there's a little bit of some emphasis from a spirit realm, perhaps saying that other forces or abilities are recognizing, your talent. Someone is recognizing your talent. Maybe it's not a spiritual being, but maybe it is somebody who's in a position to say there's a talent there, and that they smile favorably upon you, I guess, which is what the position seems to indicate.
So really, there is good luck for you through your
That's
own
kind of
talents and abilities.
Sun Man. 3.
Okay.
How do you sabotage or bring bad luck to yourself? Ooh.
Oh. Well,
The Hierophant.
yeah, you want to go
I'm going to handle
first?
this one first.
Yeah, go ahead.
The
I have an idea.
Hierophant, this could be saying that because there's a certain caution and reservedness about you at times, and that maybe you hold yourself back because you don't want to have an appearance that others might judge you on. You want to sort of fit in. You don't want to look like you don't fit in, like you're sticking out like a sore thumb, like they say, that kind of thing.
I think what it's saying to me is that you might be sabotaging yourself by being unwilling to break from traditions or things that you are used to, ways of being that you are used to. In other words, that can be somewhat self-sabotaging if you are unwilling to break out of the mold sometimes and do things in a different manner. Sometimes in order to open the doors for luck to occur, you have to be willing to be unconventional
Look
in
at
some
Ella's comment.
aspects. Oh, that's so funny. That's interesting.
Okay, so card 4, what is the best way you can create lucky breaks for yourself? Reversed.
Yes. It's the Five of Wands reversed, and the Five of Wands reversed indicates to me in this position,
Run away from the crowd.
Well, yeah, definitely. Don't get hung up on, what
Being too conventional.
other people think you should be doing, and also don't get hung up on competing in some way for your success. In other words, it's got to come more naturally.
Right, and that maybe that hoping to have luck or situations happening because you're with the right people isn't going to really work for you, that you might need to strike out on your own and not be in the crowd of other people seeking luck.
Right. And also, I think it's interesting because it kind of does fall in line with the Hierophant there a little bit.
Yes,
in a way.
it does in a way. It sort of represents a break from conventionality.
Okay, so let's see if it says your luck is going to change for the better or if it's going to run out in the coming months. I don't want to give you bad news, but there is slight bad news.
Well, there's definitely some delays here.
Yeah,
It
it's
may
not
be
terrible.
that if you're waiting, you might be waiting longer than you expect for that. So your luck isn't necessarily running out. It's just not going to get better for a little while. And I'm thinking maybe towards the end of the year is my intuitive
Yeah,
feeling.
I'm looking at this as
Couple more
almost like a
months.
3-month thing.
Yeah.
And so what I would say to you is if you're expecting a big break to happen, not yet. Pretty much not yet. But that is not the worst card you could get in that situation because it's not saying never.
Right. It's clearly not saying that. And that's our general philosophy in most tarot card readers, is that things are not that static, that the cards may present some ideas there that you can focus on or focus away from, but they're not static, and that basically this knowledge is knowledge you can use.
So I would say that one of the morals or the theme or the in this reading is that you should it's through your talents and your skills that you will gain luck and success. So you don't have to put a lot of extra effort out there. Just do the best work that you are doing now, and good things will start happening for you. That's what I think.
That's correct. So just a brief reminder, we live stream twice a week, like we do here Thursdays, 7 p.m. To 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We had a late start today, about quarter after. Sundays, we will be back 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we welcome all of that. You can leave us messages either at our Facebook page, that's TFT Tarot for Today. You can leave a message there in our inbox over there. You can also write to us at our Gmail account, TFT Tarot. Is that the number 41? The
Gmail account? No,
That's the Twitter
it's TFT Tarot for Today at gmail.com. So, and our Twitter is the one that's got the 4.
Twitter, we're on Twitter too, TFT Tarot.
4, number 4
today. And I get that about trying to blend in. I vacillate a lot over my life of feeling like I have to fit in or feeling like I can never fit in. And these days it's mostly the latter. I just don't think I ever quite fit in with everybody. I'm just that unusual.
More of a hermit mode. I saw that comment too, and I should say that first off, the hermit is my favorite card in the tarot. There's nothing
Number
wrong
9.
with there is nothing wrong with being a hermit. Let me just say, hermits are wise, and sometimes you need that time in your cave, to just pull your thoughts and yourself together and to be creative. You just need some time. You need some me time. And I used to be very introverted. I don't know if you can change, if you believe in, I don't know if you're familiar with the Myers-Briggs and all these different personality tests that are out there. But I've been tested as an introvert, and in recent years I've shifted more towards the middle. And I don't really buy into that stuff a lot because they always say, well, once an introvert, you're always an introvert. Well, if that were true and if I was as introverted as I used to be, would I be able to get on camera and do this like I'm doing right now? Do you remember who I used to be? So, I think that we all need quiet and alone time, and some of us are more party animals than others.
Well, do you have a favorite tarot card of your own, Ellis?
Cattail. He's gonna. Oh. Come here, you.
He's chasing a little fly.
Yeah, that's a problem.
We had a disastrous accident.
Yes, we had a disastrous accident on Sunday's live stream where the cat who's moving now knocked over our lighting.
And shattered
right
a
now,
mercury
it looks
bulb.
like he wants to chase a bug there. Phew, he's off the
Stay
table.
away now.
The cat has left the room. Oh my goodness. Well, I could do one of two things here with time we have remaining.
Oh, we have plenty of time.
We have lots of time because we should stay our full 2 hours, even though we were.
Okay.
So we will. And I think that what I want to do, if I can find it here. Oh, by the way, just back to the luck thing a little bit. I just wanted to say, it's not like I read these things cover to cover, but I have accumulated some books over time on luck. Look, there's one called Lucky You, and it's about proven strategies for finding good fortune. People think they know how to do it, and, there's a lot to be said by reading some of these books because it at least empowers you to think that you can control luck to some degree. It's not all, it's not all out of your hands. And there's how to make luck.
Ella says their favorite card is the Nine of Swords, maybe, LOL. But their actual favorite, and that's visually, I guess, is the Two of Cups, which that's a favorite card of mine.
Oh, the Two of Cups is an awesome card. Yes, I like that one a lot. The favorite Lenormand card is the Ring. Ah, it's really funny. I've been working with the Lenormand for a while now, and I'm not really sure I have an overall favorite card yet. It's just nothing. I would say maybe one of them is, for me, it has to be the clover. But also, I like the bouquet. I like the bouquet because, it's about receiving and also giving, giving a gift or receiving a gift. One other book that I had on luck was called Get Lucky, which also says here in the byline or the subtitle, Make Your Own Opportunities, which is exactly what I've been talking about here. And then there's another one that I really haven't dabbled into, but I got. There were all these books once upon a time that were published called I don't know, is there a camera showing right now? Because I'm not seeing which camera is up. Okay. The Secret Language of Luck.
I'm taking care of the chat.
I know, but I needed to see that. The Secret Language of Luck. And this has to do with where your Jupiter and your Saturn are placed in your charts, I think. And then they give a blow-by-blow account of how lucky you can be. And I really haven't looked at this over enough. There were a number of these secret language books. Some of them were secret language of names, secret language of your birthday, and they mostly dealt with numerology or astrological things. They were pretty interesting series of books. So that's my segment on luck pretty much, but
Yay!
I could do a reading for myself on luck. Or is there anything else you had in mind today, Mr. Oberon?
No, I should just see if maybe Ellis wants a regular reading. Ellis.
Oh, okay. So you do read cards. You read the Lenormand. Is that your cards of choice or tarot too?
What are you doing, son, man?
He's eating my he's eating my tarot readings, my spreads.
Stop that.
I know.
I have to take you to the doctor again. Oh, please stop that. I hate when you do that. Viewers can't see him, but he's just licking his lips like he's trying to swallow
Like
something.
he may have ate something that he shouldn't have. I'm a little concerned. Maybe he got the bug. It's possible. Well, okay, so...
Do a reading then.
All right. And like clockwork, he takes up my reading space. You little goofy cat.
That's pretty impressive to do timing, too, with relationships.
That's very interesting. Yes, I like the Lenormand too. I've really taken to it because, of course, there's a little playing card aspect to it as well. And I was raised as a child. I learned how to read fortunes with a regular deck of playing cards, and I do a little of that still to this day. But of course, once I met Oberon, he taught me the tarot, which took over my life. And
but I too started off with a form of regular cards before tarot. I used to read what were known as the Gypsy Witch fortune telling deck, which was similar, I guess you would say.
Have you ever seen those? And if you have not, I will bring some. We both have, I think, decks of those.
I should have one still.
Yeah. So we'll bring one down sometime and show you, and I think you'll see the correlation right away to the Lenormand cards. I think it's kind of a spin-off system from the Lenormand. Very closely related.
And I remember those from the late 60s. I don't know if they're even older than
they
that.
are.
Yeah.
I have one copyrighted from the 1940s, so yeah.
Wow, incredible.
Because my aunts used to read with them.
Yeah, they're very fascinating little deck, and I remember being a creepy little 12-year-old kid running around my neighborhood asking people to let me read cards for them.
Yeah, you should look them up. They're probably still being published today.
Do they have more playing cards, or Ellis is asking?
I can't remember if they go beyond 36 or not. They may have 40 or 42 is possible. Can't quite remember the amount. But I know that a lot of the very same symbols and things in the Lenormand are part of the Gypsy Witch cards. There are flowers, bouquet, there's house, there's a coffin,
A dog.
there's a sixth, there's a rod, there's clouds. So very similar, very, very similar. And there's a man and woman card, and they have a layout that is similar in a lot of ways to the Lenormand one. And but I think the person card always goes in a specific area in the reading, and then you lay out the cards around it. And it is cards that are like boxing around that person card that you end up reading. You know, those cards are the most important in the spread. So I think you can see by what I'm telling you, yeah, the cloud cards are kind of creepy. I don't like them. I don't like getting them.
Well, from a cultural narrative point of view, I've seen here in the States, that's my only, experience, the whole community attitude towards people that read cards has kind of shifted back and forth, gone around in a circle. When I was a kid in 1968 or 69, nobody thought I was going to be led to the path of the devil. They wanted to know when I would come by and read their cards. But, 20 years later in the 80s, everybody started to get really scared of somebody playing with cards.
Yeah, I mean, one of my bosses thought it was really cool that I read cards, and she had me read for her all the time. But then she made the mistake of starting telling people I did this. And one of the housekeepers that worked in the library I worked at the time started telling me that I was going to go to hell, and started just... And where we had always friendly conversations in the past, she would never talk to me. She would never say hi to me anymore after that. Suddenly, even though I was a very nice person and we got along great before she knew I read cards, suddenly I was a bad person.
Yeah, there are other countries in the world, and possibly more so in the Middle East, that do take an extreme view of that. So do be careful about that.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
anyone that might be. But it's no bed of roses here either anymore.
Yeah, so we're really careful, we use alternate names here on our live stream, partially because, hey, I'm closing in on retirement right now. I'm within, a few years of
Months
it,
or
maybe
less.
and I would hate to see anything jeopardize that. So, I kind of play a little close to my chest on the job I work at now. Okay, I guess I've shuffled them enough. Do you want to shuffle? Well, this is my reading. All right, but you will interpret for me. How about that?
Alrighty.
I'm going to cut them. I'll let you pick them up. And I'll get out my spread. I unfortunately didn't bring that one out. Give me 1 second. We're going to do the luck spread because inquiring minds want to know if Banshee's luck is going to continue. Because I do have a feeling. I have a feeling something is afoot. Here it is. And see, as if I was meant to read it. So there's the spread. Okay, so card number 1 is, am I as lucky as I feel right now? What did I get?
The Eight of Cups. Well,
That's interesting.
because you apply yourself to it.
Well, the Eight of Cups is applying myself to it?
Oh, I'm sorry. Whoops.
No. Actually, the Eight
You're
of
going to
Cups
go searching for it.
is that I go seeking it out. I seek out lucky opportunities. That's what it seems to be saying. I like that. And it's true. And card number 2, what should I do about it? Spend more money. No. It's not what it says.
King of Cups reversed.
Well, I'm sure you'll have some admonitions for me. What should I do about my luck?
Well, I don't know. That's like saying that maybe it's not very holy.
I think what the King of Cups reversed is trying to tell me is don't Oh, don't get too excited about it. Go back. He says no.
No, go. You'll be gone for at least 2 days.
I have a follow-up story to that, LS, because something really weird happened to me in this last year that kind of has a bearing on what happened to me at the casino, and I'll explain it in a minute. But at any rate, I think the King of Cups is telling me in this position, is that the cups? Yes. In this position, that I need to not get too excited about this and overly emotional and also overly indulgent. In other
Okay.
words,
Yeah.
be careful, don't get carried away, I think is the admonition there. What signs or hunches should I be looking for? I'm curious about this one.
There's the 8 of coins.
Yeah. And what's funny about that one? If you look at this is the Ciro Marchetti tarot that I read from last live stream, the Tarot Grand Lux. Beautiful symbology on here. He is looking at a book. He is looking for something. He is looking for signs. So what signs and omens should I be looking for? I think I have to work to find out. I think I have to really work at this.
Well, it always seems to me saying that maybe, this is about investing in yourself to this card. They're studying there. And so the thing is that the luck is around you. So just figure out where you're luckiest and invest.
Okay, where I should invest. I like that. I think that's probably very true. And card number 4 at the top. Am I really in a good position financially to gamble right now? I laugh. No,
you're
I'm
not.
And we're in between paychecks here. So it's not the best time for me to gamble right now.
Well, it could be saying that really you are looking for that, though. You're looking for that luck, and it's not just there yet, right? Because normally this would be
it's
the card of
specifically
charity.
About financials, so that's why I'm thinking it's saying no.
Yeah, I agree.
And you're right. With the charity thing isn't that okay? When it's upright, you're giving to people. When it's reversed, you're
that's
holding
really more
back.
6 of coins, actually, isn't it?
Oh,
I'm confusing.
You are confusing them.
Yeah.
The 6 of Wands is the
Victory laurel wreath.
Yes, and that's what I was thinking in the beginning. So
And
now
you
you confuse the Banshee.
Never heard.
Number 5. How successful could I be playing games of chance at this time? Well, what do you think there?
3 of coins.
And it's upright.
Very successful. Probably very successful, because this is a card of somebody who is renowned for their prowess and their talent.
Thumbs up to gambling.
And maybe that just means that people are going to hear you're lucky and then they're just going to start bugging you to pay numbers for them or give them the lucky numbers.
They have had me do that. Some people have had me play numbers for them, and it's never really worked out. Except the one time when I had a dream when I was younger, when my mom was still alive, and, they were the ones that told me you had to play it for 3 days. So we all played the number together. And on the 3rd day, it came out and we all won $500, each one of us. So it was really awesome that actually happened with one of my own dreams. I was incredibly happy. And especially that my mom and aunt could benefit as well. But
in a way, that's what that card means, though, is that everyone has to make their luck for themselves.
It's true. And I think I've been doing a good job of it lately, because I have been playing carefully. So let me explain something that happened. So, okay, about the casino, LS. You know what happened there. So this last year, I had to go to a library conference, and this one was a little bit of a drive, but it was fairly close. But I stayed overnight. It was at a hotel in Saginaw, Michigan, which is
about 2 hours away from Detroit.
About 2 hours. Thank you. I was going to show the hand, but it's about 2 hours away from where we live. So basically, I was there for a couple days, and I was playing my lottery. I was playing numbers at different stores. And so on the way in one day, I vowed I was going to go to the same gas station again and go pick up some numbers to play. And so I went to, I suddenly all of a sudden saw this gas station and I pulled in. And I realized as I pulled in, it wasn't the same gas station I played at. And I thought, oh, should I go to the other one? Well, I'm here now. I'm just going to play here. And so when I was there, I played my numbers, and then I decided because I had won a little bit at the other gas station, just a little bit, that I was going to invest in a couple of scratch-off tickets, instant win tickets, and play them. And there was a particular game I was playing at the time that I wanted to try. Well, it turns out they were out of those tickets. And I was kind of glum, feeling bad. And then I said, hey, do you have any of that 20 times the cash ticket? Because that was the ticket. It was a different version years later of the ticket that I won the $1,000 on up north. And so they said, yeah, we have that one. I said, okay, give me one of those. So I took one of those and I went to my car and I found out I won another $1,000. And that's on the exact same game that I won $1,000 on up north. What was it, 4 years previously or something like that? 3 or 4 years previously. Now, how does that happen? And also, they were away when I was on trips in a different locale, and it was just on a whim that I picked that ticket because I had another ticket in mind. And I could have just said when they said, oh, no, the ticket's not available, I could have just thought, okay, I won't play. But no, I picked this ticket. How does that happen? I wish I could tell you, but it was pretty awesome.
There goes Banshee being lucky again.
And that's my luck stories. I just thought I had to share these because truly some of it is really very unique to me. And I always think that sometimes it's my family, who has passed on. The lottery players that my mom and my aunts were, they're looking out for me. And every so often they give me what I need when I need it. Do you remember the time when our furnace blew at Christmas time and I won enough money to exactly cover the repair?
Yeah.
So it's just...
But you bring up a good point, though, which is that sometimes these luck situations happen after something bad has happened. And so the luck situation mostly just kind of repairs the bad luck. Not always.
No, not always.
But sometimes it just seems to right a wrong in a sense.
Well, thank you for that, LS. And yeah, it's a very weird synchronicity that goes on with me sometimes because, and I think, I've always had an affinity. You talk about favorite tarot cards. One of my favorite tarot cards is the Wheel of Fortune because, I recognize in life there are going to be ups and there are going to be downs. And we all have to ride the flow of that, You can't, the downs sometimes can bring you really low. And I've had that happen because sometimes when luck is bad, luck is bad. And when luck is good, sometimes luck is very good. But you have to be able to ride that. You can't stay down in the dumps there because, that's what's going to make your luck change and fall you into a gutter. I won't let that happen. So I think maybe because I have that attitude of just get up, dust yourself off, and keep rolling with it, that maybe good things happen. Eventually it swings, and I ride with that swing.
Oh, LS, you ruined my joke. Well, you didn't ruin it, but no. How do you catch a unique cat? You sneak up on them.
You sneak up on them.
But yes, cats are magical creatures. They're all unique. We've had, oh my God, we probably have had a dozen cats in the course of our lives.
Yeah.
And each one was different and unique.
They've all lived to at least 15 years.
Well, not all of them, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah, most of them have, yeah. So.
No, you didn't ruin the joke. Actually, that was a very worthy comparison or statement to make. Because we believe that too. And we believe that sometimes our cats are our luck. That I would be unlucky
So I guess
without a
I'd
cat.
ask this, I spent a lot of time on signs and omens and things for good luck, but have you ever had anything, point to any other signs and omens that mean something significant in your life? Like, for example, I've had this love-hate relationship with frogs. For some reason, whenever I see frogs, I end up getting more responsibility at work. I don't think that's what frogs are supposed to traditionally mean. I mean, they mean fertility sometimes and stuff, but I don't know that that means you're being heaped with leadership and all kinds of responsibilities that you didn't ask for. But every time a frog would come into my life, that would happen. And so I just wonder if you've ever experienced that. Do you have particular signs or omens that come to you that mean something? What about you?
I guess I haven't thought about that much. It seems to me like luck is just a feeling that I get because something happened, but every time it's different. So,
I'm not just talking about luck here, like any other sign that you need to be aware of, that something's going to happen.
well, I've probably have never told you this before, but sometimes
What?
when I have a certain kind of question,
Uh huh.
I flip a coin and do heads tails. And so I decide sometimes. And if I don't like the answer, then maybe I go for 2 out of 3, 3 out of 5. So, uh,
Okay. Well, I didn't know that in all of our
so
years together.
that's like another form of augury. You can't really,
It's true. That's true.
not put it into that context.
Well,
So,
there's the thing about, you find a penny on the ground, it's good luck. You find a safety pin open, that's good luck. If you put a shirt on backwards, you should keep it that way, or you're going to have a bad day. I've heard that one.
it's all forms of clothing. Any clothing
Oh,
you
yeah?
put on inside out, if you take it off and reverse it, you are making bad luck for yourself.
Oh.
That's what I've heard.
They have the thing, of course, if you walk under a ladder, it's bad luck. Or the other thing is that oftentimes I've heard that.
Birds are messengers or signs.
Oh, you brought up the birds. And it's interesting because I've had some good things about birds and some not so good about birds. Oftentimes, birds have indicated that somebody is about to pass in my family, pass on. Somebody will hear an unusual bird chirping outside their window before they pass. And it's almost like they're sending a message, the birds.
Well, coming from many folks in America are derived from European stock, and Europeans had a lot of superstitions, various countries about birds, specifically things like ravens or crows or owls. And I think that's just maybe a realization that simpler peoples in simpler times actually knew how intelligent crows and birds like that are. They're
Yeah.
highly intelligent. And so that would be an omen to them if a crow did something that was really specific to them, or a raven or something like that.
Oh, that's interesting, LS. Wow. And it was really funny too. It's not always a bad thing, when you get these messages. We had a friend who passed, and it was a very depressing thing. He just died too young, and it was a real tragic way that he passed. I mean, it was a health problem, but very tragic. And he used to manage a band, and the band was called the Buzzards. And so
Hard rock band
hard
from the
rock
early
band,
80s.
yeah, and it was a local band, and it was called the Buzzards. And so when we were driving to his funeral, and we were in the cemetery, there was this tree that hung over the road we were driving on, and what was sitting in the tree above where we drove? A buzzard, a big buzzard.
And the other thing about that was that the person that our friend had the most of a relationship with in that band was somebody who had passed away several years before him, and was often known as Billy the Buzzard or Billy Buzzard, that kind of thing. So it sort of felt
knew.
to us
I
like
felt he was watching us. I felt he
Right.
was there when I saw that buzzard. It was awesome. I mean, I don't like
Yes.
buzzards generally, but just seeing that and the way it happened, it certainly was a message.
Yeah, birds, there's much folklore written about the signs of birds and feathers. We had a friend, Stacy, who often found various feathers. She just did a little bit of foraging out in the woods. She liked to be out there in the woods, and so she would bring us crow feathers and some other feathers. So that was always very nice too.
Yeah. And also, just to let you know, LS, I don't know, I have a number of oracle decks that are bird decks, exclusively bird decks, and there's some really nice ones out there. So maybe one upcoming live stream, when you're with us, I will bring out a couple of them to show. 'Cause,
LS or
yeah.
Banshee, have you ever heard this? I guess recently in the last several months or so, I've heard tell about sightings, and I think one might have actually been in the Middle East or somewhere overseas from here, a white raven or a white crow.
I hadn't heard of that.
And it's been mentioned a few times, and I don't know specifically if they're calling it an albino, because I know that albinoism does occur in animal species too. But I thought that was really interesting because
Yeah.
people had said that that was a sign of something, that a raven or a crow could be seen with white feathers. Very unique too.
Yeah, I had no idea. Wow.
So there's all kinds of omens we can take from animals, because there are sometimes just the normal thing of the animal that just shows up and says, hey, here's my horn or my hoof or my feather. And then there are the unusual animals that are even rare totally in and of themselves.
Yeah, I just thought I'd bring up the thing about signs because
You've been seeing more white birds than usual.
oh,
In a lot of cultures of the world, white is a sign of purity and hope, or sometimes it's
definitely
also
a
a
peace.
sign of the spirit world too.
Yes.
I understand, and I don't know if this is true or not, but they claim that in China and maybe other parts of Asia, that the symbols are reversed, in that whereas in our culture, black might be a sign of evil, white is the sign of, or the color of evil in China. So cultural differences with folklore and superstitions is very important to understand that there are some key differences, and these things take place or develop over possibly hundreds, thousands of years of a culture becoming that culture. So, and I think too that oftentimes it's because somebody diligently recorded those things and left that record there, and other people looked at it and added to that record. And that's why we have this body of knowledge that says these things mean things.
Well, see, and that's what I would suggest, LS, is oftentimes these signs and symbols that we get, they're very personal. So when you see something out of the ordinary, and then you can start seeing a pattern with what's happening around you, you're running into a spell of like you said here, a tough time, and then you're seeing the same black bird all the time, you start making connections, and you realize what certain omens mean to you, and that only happens with experience over time. I've noticed some things with rabbits lately that seems to me rabbits seem to bring some good fortune my way, or just some levity into my life that I much needed happy occasions or events take place and stuff like that.
Well, I don't know about just any blackbird, but I do know that ravens and crows are so intelligent that they sometimes remember people that they met from years ago, because they're kind of long lived as birds go. They might live 20 years or more themselves too. And I've heard stories of crows or ravens remembering specific persons or specific animals even that might have interacted with them. And that's a little bit weird in a way, but they're just considered so intelligent. So that's kind of unique. The other thing, too, I think, is that in America, our culture is like us, a melting pot from so many different countries. And so sometimes things formulate and work out and be that way, but yet they're regardless of another culture. Like you say, in your culture or other cultures, the color black might be seen as more of a benevolent color, or not as a bad color.
Well, but magically, it is true that black does have a protective quality about it. Also, that it is. I like to think of it too as a grounding color sometimes.
It's a grounding
too.
color.
Yeah.
I think too that in some traditions, from a color point of view, a spectrum point of view, the whole idea about black is that it is sort of the sum of all colors. So within it is contained the essence or vibration of all colors.
It's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a black pigeon either.
I have never seen
To
one.
be honest, yeah, no.
That really does sound like an omen. When was that? And can you say what might have happened around that time that could possibly tie into it? while you're doing that, I think I'm going to pull a card for that too.
Oh, maybe I should throw some Lenormand out today.
So I am thinking about the black pigeon that flew to Ellis' window, and I'm wondering if there was a sign there for Ellis about that. So I am shuffling these cards, and I am thinking, what is the sign that Ellis should get about that bird?
She said summer, maybe May or June.
Yeah, you said a few months ago. And I pulled this card. Whoops, I got to put my cam there. And that was the star, and I'm pulling it reversed. So the star is saying that maybe at that time there was a lack of hope or a lack of inspiration about something, that maybe something was just too challenging. And so I'm wondering if the bird was trying to tell you to buck up, for some, slightly hard times. I wouldn't say that these were horrible times you went through a few months ago, but that maybe there was, interesting. Okay. And what did Banshee pull?
Well, this is interesting. I pulled a man card, so I don't know if a man was involved in the Lenormand, or if you know why that might have came up. But here's
Why
the
is he barefoot?
But as you know, I pair them off, and what did I pull? The star.
So
He pulled the star, and I pulled the star.
So I would like to suggest that the stars are actually back to back, heel to heel, and that maybe this star negates this star, or this star kind of pulls that star together. And so it says that although there was that sense of that bad vibration, there is some vibration of hope and inspiration around you.
Well, maybe what I'd like, you had it reversed, right?
Yeah, mine was reversed.
Well, what I'd like to say to that is that even though it seemed like all hope was lost, hope was not lost.
There you go.
It's pretty interesting that we pull the same card there. I don't know how that happens. Teamwork. Well, since we still have time, since we're going a little later,
we're going to
because
go over the clock because we started late, so we're going to go at least another 10 minutes maybe.
Why don't we pull a tarot for tomorrow?
Why don't we? It could very well be.
That may be so. That may be so. Maybe you're just going to have to see, look for more signs and omens out there in relation to these black birds. Maybe the one that happened to you was just a fluke, and maybe the blackbird was actually coming to warn you that difficult times were afoot.
Well, you may already do something like this because I get the feeling like you have a lot of devotional qualities to you. But I would say, even if that bird isn't coming back right now, in some form or way, leave a token gift for it on your windowsill where it came to, like maybe just a little small flower or a colored stone,
Or some seed.
A seed of some sort. Yes, there you go. And just when you put it there with intent. And say, I ask for my guardian spirit to protect me always. That kind of thing. You probably know stuff like that. Come on, Ellis. Yes, birds are messages from the spirit world. They are either an angelic or spiritual type messenger, or there's somebody that, and I believe that. I do believe that. I see crows. I'm pretty sure they're crows. Crows had left Michigan for over 10 years due to a disease that was wiping them out, and now crows are back, and I'm in a rather new building. It's large, and some days when I come into work I see 1, 2, or 3 crows up on top of the light fixture in the corner, and whenever I see them they just caw at me like crazy, and so I caw back to them and ask them how they're doing.
Well, if they truly are messages or your guides, maybe they will show up again when you actually need them.
Well, don't be scared of that, but at least think good thoughts for them. Mm-hmm. I just think thinking good thoughts, anyone can do that.
Okay. Oh, were you going to cut them? I'll let you do that.
Okay, we are pulling our card for Friday. Crows are beautiful. I like crows.
If Sunny will
They're so
let
smart.
me. Oh, reversal.
What is that?
It's the King of Wands.
The King of Wands
Reversed.
You're first.
Well, I would have to say that this is an energy, obviously, of somebody who might be a fire sign. Maybe somebody who is just a little bit has some anger management issues, and could be a boss or a supervisor, somebody in authority, and it's kind of difficult to deal with. It looks like there could be some problems
Ella
with
says they had this card before in their reading.
individual tomorrow.
I think I remember that. This card has come up a little bit for us. In fact, I think it came up recently in a tarot for today, just
I
a day or
believe
two
it
ago.
did.
Or
We've
that was
had-
the night, actually.
Well, the knight did,
But the king
I
has come
think
up too.
Yeah, either him or the King of Pentacles came up. I can't remember, but I think we're getting a lot
This
of court
card
cards lately.
tells me that tomorrow people may find that they have a harder time communicating to others. They have a harder time showing people what they mean, illustrating what they mean. If they're involved in trying to pull a team together in the workplace or in some other vocation, they may have a harder time reaching people or pulling people together. To some degree, it may be that people aren't feeling confidence from you.
You know, it's interesting. I'm going to have to check the astrological calendar, but I think the moon is in Virgo tomorrow or today.
Okay.
It might be tomorrow. I'm not sure. But if it is, that certainly does maybe be indicative of a workplace issue, could be. And I just think it could be somebody in authority, somebody who might maybe be criticizing or critical of, somebody's attempts at being creative.
Yeah, I feel that too. And I just feel that the image that's being projected is not one that is inviting confidence. So you may have to
Right.
think about what you're doing with that.
So in other words, I think this is somebody who you
Ella
might...
says we're getting closer to a Libra new moon. Okay, so that'll
okay.
be after Virgo.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's after Virgo.
Yeah, because the
Okay.
new moon is probably still not quite a week away, a few days. So yeah, it's probably in Virgo now, and then it's
Could
moving
very
towards
well
Libra.
be. And so what I'm thinking is, too, this is the kind of person, it's like you approach them with an idea, like, hey, I got this great idea, and they immediately shut you down. Nothing like, you have this great enthusiasm, and then you get this naysayer who just doesn't want to hear it and shuts you down. That's the way I feel about it. Going to be very aggressive and like, nope, don't want to hear you today.
Okay, so that'll be our reading, which we will post later tonight on our Facebook page. Look for that a little bit later.
Well, I'm thinking with the little time that we have left, we got about 10 minutes left, I think.
Yeah, we can do about 10 minutes, I think. And join us again on Sunday at 2 to 4 for more fun and games here.
We're going to talk about dreams on Sunday because it's come up a bit in our live stream, and I think that...
Yes, people do ask us about dreams and what we feel
lot.
about dreams too.
And I'm moderately good at interpreting dreams, but I think dreams are a very personal thing as well. But I'm going to bring up a few points about dreams and show a couple of decks that I have that are geared towards dream interpretation, and just to show a few little dream books that I have as well. There's lots of books on dream interpretation and stuff. I have some old tomes from the 20s and 30s that my aunts used to have that are literally falling apart, but I still keep them because there's some interesting interpretations in those books.
And from the dream point of view, I have unusual dreams, but I don't always remember them. So when I do, they're usually pretty kooky stuff. But I tend to be more of a classical dream interpreter in the sense that I work from the psychological training that I had about dreams, from my college coursework, and, books that I've read since then. So I tend to view most dreams as representative of what our subconscious is playing in our heads at night to help us filter the activities of the day or of our lives through. But I don't completely believe that they are without prophecy or prophetic ideas.
I have an idea.
Yes.
I want to do a very quick
Sounds dangerous.
follow-up to Brexit.
Oh, right now?
Yes.
Okay.
A yes,
And
no reading.
Alice, being over there in the Middle East, I don't know if you're paying attention to the Brexit situation with
In
Britain
Britain?
and the European Union, but we did a reading about that, which we excerpted and put on YouTube. So now we're doing a follow up.
And it's gotten 43 views, so people have been watching it because there's a lot of interest in, some of the, I know we're having our own difficulties in our own country right now. But I'm very curious about this one too, because it is mirroring some of the divisions that we have here in our country as well. They're experiencing in Britain right now about their leaving the European Union. And so my simple yes no question is going to be, will Boris Johnson ask for an extension of, for Brexit so that they don't, so that they don't have to leave abruptly in October like they have to. You know what I'm saying?
I think so,
Yeah,
yeah.
because right now the Parliament wants him to ask Europe for an extension. He does not want to do it. He just wants to flat out leave them. And so he's bucked the Supreme Court, Parliament, etc. over this. And I just want to see if the cards can tell us what direction he's going to take. I hand them to you.
I'm shuffling.
Yep. Will Boris Johnson ask for Europe for an extension? The EU. I haven't done a lot of fancy predictions for, political.
We tend to not, but we've been
We've done
challenged.
climate change. We've done a little bit of politics. Got to be careful with that because we don't want to upset people. So I tried to do this in a very objective manner.
That's a good point, Alice. Yes.
Yeah, true.
One of the most mean political people I know used to not be that way. And she used to say, politics is boring, meaning I don't want to talk about them. But within a short time, she really changed. And now none of us want to talk with her about them. Oh, dear.
Well, okay, before we tell you what this is,
Rephrase the question again.
will Boris Johnson ask the European Union for an extension
You're on the hook now.
on Brexit? Well, here's the point. I like to put ourselves on the spot with something that could or could not happen to see if it actually could bear fruit. And I'll tell you right now, Boris Johnson really does not want to budge on this. He really does not. But there's a lot of pressure on him. And what I've received is 3 aces, which means a definite yes. So, according to my tarot reading, Boris Johnson will be asking for an extension from the European Union for Brexit. And you've heard it here first. And if I'm wrong, I'm going to have to eat my words. But we'll see what happens. This is very curious.
Yeah, it's a very definite yes, which we don't always find that we get those in the yes or no spread that we do here.
Yeah. So it's going to be very interesting to see if this bears out. He may feel in the end he has no choice but to do this because the political implications are high, but the stakes are high either way for him. So I felt this was a really good question to ask. And with some of the stuff, which I'm not going to get into today, going on in the U.S. with our government right now, I think it's just a little bit too tense and too crazy right now to even go there. So I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
But we will, and since this was a pretty short reading, we
Yeah.
could probably excerpt this and throw this up on YouTube
I think
in the
we
next
should
day or
throw
so,
it up
yeah.
ASAP because he's going to have to make that decision really soon.
And we want to be on record.
We want to be on record for whatever happens, and then we can eat our words.
Or maybe we'll find that we'll have a lot of people flocking to our website.
Yeah. So who can say? So, what is life if you don't challenge yourself? And what good are we as readers if we don't challenge ourselves? Every so often, I like to do things like this and see how it'll turn out.
So we are near the end of our broadcast,
Yes.
and once again, we would like to mention that if anybody out there sees this, whether they're watching tonight or if they watch in the future, we would love to show other people's decks if they give us permission. So if you have created a deck or if you have rights over somebody's deck, please let us know if you're interested in us using them on our broadcast. You can contact TFT Tarot for Today at Gmail for that.
Yes. And also, I would like to say for anybody who may be watching this on video later, please come to our live streams. Please come and engage and participate in the
subscribe.
chat. And subscribe, of course, so then you'll be notified whenever new stuff comes out. And I'd like to thank you, LS, for hanging with us the whole time we were live. We really appreciate it. I know that probably a lot of people not seeing us on in the beginning probably just gave up.
Yeah, we didn't have our usual audience of
Yeah.
5 or so folks, but we're always glad for whoever shows up. And once again, we say our special thanks to our granddaughter Maori for the avatar and logo design.
About people's love lives.
For our daughter-in-law, Junior Goddess, for the lighting, for Monster Malak, our producer and son, for technical services, and everyone else who is very helpful. Thank you, Ellis. We really appreciate you being here with us too tonight.
And as far as you reading for the love questions, love does make the world go round, and yeah, it shows because that's what's almost always on everybody's mind.
So until Sunday or whenever we
Yep.
see you again, thanks again.
Take care, and we'll see you Sunday. Bye-bye.